As the crew worked tirelessly to assess the situation, a holographic map of the solar system flickered to life on the display. Red dots pulsed ominously, indicating the remaining Zorak ships regrouping just beyond Earth's atmosphere. The battle may have ended, but the war was far from over. "Commander, we need a strategy," Mark urged. "The Zorak Empire will come back stronger. We need to prepare for their next attack." Rachel took a deep breath, her mind racing. "We must gather all our resources and allies. If the Zorak think they can invade us again, they are mistaken." Across the globe, leaders from different nations came together to discuss their next move. They shared intelligence, strategized defenses, and pooled their resources. For the first time in a long time, the world felt united against a common enemy. It was a shift that Rachel knew could change the tide of the war. Meanwhile, on the Zorak Vanguard, Commander Thalor seethed with frustration. He paced back and forth on his ship, surrounded by his top officers. "We underestimated them," he admitted, anger in his voice. "The humans fought with unexpected strength. We must regroup and attack again, but this time with a different plan." His officers exchanged worried glances. "What if they are prepared for us?" one officer asked cautiously. Thalor waved his hand dismissively. "It doesn't matter. We will strike at their weakest point. We have intelligence that shows their defenses are not uniform. They are strongest in key areas, but there are gaps we can exploit." As the Zorak fleet prepared for their next offensive, Rachel and her team worked diligently to fortify Earth's defenses. "We need to focus on our technology," Mark suggested. "We can develop new weapons and improve our fighter jets. We can't rely on what we have, we need to innovate." Rachel agreed. "Let's create a task force to develop advanced technology. We also need to train our troops and pilots for more intense combat. They must be ready for whatever the Zorak throw at us." The days turned into weeks as humanity worked tirelessly to prepare. Scientists and engineers collaborated, coming up with new designs for weapons and defense systems. Troops trained day and night, practicing tactics and drills to improve their coordination. The sense of unity among nations strengthened, and a shared purpose ignited hope in their hearts. But deep down, Rachel felt a nagging worry. What if their preparations weren't enough? What if the Zorak Empire's next attack was too powerful? She pushed those thoughts aside, determined to stay focused. They had already lost so much, and they couldn't afford to think of defeat. On the day of the Zorak's anticipated return, the atmosphere was charged with tension. The Unity sat at the forefront, surrounded by Allied ships and aircraft. Rachel stood firm, her eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of the enemy. Suddenly, alarms blared. "They're here!" Mark shouted, pointing at the approaching ships on the radar. The Zorak fleet was massive, with dozens of ships glimmering ominously against the backdrop of space. "Prepare for battle!" Rachel commanded, her heart pounding. "We've trained for this, and we will not back down!" The crew scrambled into action, readying the weapons and launching fighter jets into the sky. As the Zorak ships closed in, the tension was palpable. The fate of Earth hung in the balance. Rachel felt a surge of determination. They had come too far to turn back now. Humanity was ready to face the challenge ahead. They had fought together before, and they would do it again. This time, they would show the Zorak Empire the true meaning of strength and unity. The battle for Earth was about to begin once more, but this time, the humans were prepared. With their hearts set on victory, they would stand firm against the invaders, ready to defend their home at all costs. In the vastness of space, a powerful alien empire watched over many worlds. Their ships moved silently among the stars, their eyes focused on Earth. For centuries, humans were seen as weak and unimportant. But now, something strange was happening on this little blue planet. The aliens could feel it in the air. On board the flagship of the Zorak Empire, Commander Thalor stared at the glowing screens in front of him. The screens showed live images of Earth. He noticed unusual activity: armies training, scientists working day and night, and the sounds of engines roaring to life. It was as if humanity was preparing for something big. "Send a deep scan to Earth," Thalor ordered his crew. He wanted to know what was making the humans so busy. The crew worked quickly, tapping on controls and sending out signals that traveled faster than light. Moments later, a series of images appeared on the screen. The scans revealed advanced weaponry and new technology that had never been seen before. Humans were building powerful machines and creating new weapons that could challenge any alien force. Thalor's heart raced. What could have pushed these creatures to prepare for battle? Then a strange signal popped up on his screen. It was a mix of sounds and symbols that seemed to pulse with energy. Thalor leaned closer, curious and alarmed. This signal was different from anything he had encountered. It was a message, one that spoke of war and readiness. "This is not just noise, this is a warning!" Thalor exclaimed. The other aliens in the room looked at each other, confused. They had always dismissed humans as unworthy of attention, but this message made them rethink everything. What were the humans trying to say? Thalor ordered a team of experts to decode the signal. As the team worked, they pored over charts, graphs, and old human history. Hours passed, and the tension grew in the control room. Finally, one of the experts, a young alien named Nira, stood up with excitement. "Commander, we think we have decoded part of the message." Thalor turned his full attention to her. "What does it say?" Nira cleared her throat. "It talks about human history, about wars fought and battles won. It shows their determination and strength. They believe they are ready for any challenge. They think they can defeat us." Thalor's eyes narrowed. "Ready for us? How dare they think they can stand against the Zorak Empire? Prepare the scouting team. We need to see this for ourselves." The crew jumped into action, gathering equipment and preparing for a mission to Earth. As Thalor looked out at the stars, he couldn't shake the feeling that they had underestimated the humans. The aliens had always been confident in their power, but this was different. If humans truly believed they were ready for battle, they might be a greater threat than anyone had imagined. Moments later, the scouting team was ready. Thalor watched as they loaded into their small ship, designed for stealth and speed. "Bring back information," he commanded. "We need to know how serious this is." As the small ship departed, Thalor felt a mix of excitement and fear. If the humans were indeed preparing for war, it would change everything. He thought of their history, their tales of survival and bravery. For the first time, the aliens were not just hunting weak prey, they were facing a potential equal. Back on Earth, humans were busy preparing for a challenge they did not yet fully understand. Little did they know, the alien scouts were on their way, eager to uncover the truth behind the strange message. Thalor felt a strange sense of anticipation. He had always been a warrior, and he knew that facing the unknown could lead to glory or destruction. As the stars twinkled outside his ship, he wondered if this time the battle would truly be a fight for survival. Would the humans be ready, or would they fall like so many others? The answer lay just ahead, waiting to be revealed. On Earth, a sense of urgency filled the air. News of strange activities from outer space spread quickly. Scientists, military leaders, and government officials gathered in secret meetings to discuss the mysterious signal that had reached them. It was a call to action. The world needed to unite against a potential threat. In a large conference room at the United Nations headquarters, leaders from different countries sat around a long table. The atmosphere was tense. Each leader felt the weight of their nation on their shoulders. President Adams of the United States stood up first. "We have all seen the signals. We must prepare for whatever may come. If aliens are watching us, we need to show them that we are not weak." A murmur of agreement filled the room. Leaders from Europe, Asia, and Africa nodded, realizing that their differences no longer mattered. This was about survival. Prime Minister Chen from China added, "We have the technology and the resources. If we work together, we can become a powerful force." As discussions continued, plans were made to share technology and military resources. Countries that once competed against each other now found common ground. They decided to combine their armies, sharing weapons, equipment, and knowledge. The leaders recognized that they needed to prepare their citizens for what might come. In every corner of the globe, military bases came to life. Soldiers trained harder than ever, running drills and practicing combat strategies. New recruits signed up to join the fight, eager to defend their homes. Children watched their parents with pride as they put on uniforms, feeling inspired to do their part. Meanwhile, scientists worked day and night to understand the alien technology they had intercepted. They gathered in labs working on advanced weapons and defense systems. Dr. Lisa Rodriguez, a leading scientist, was determined to find a way to give humanity an edge. "We must understand their technology," she said to her team. "If we know what we are up against, we can fight back." As days turned into weeks, humans united like never before. Countries began to hold joint training exercises, sharing tactics and strategies. Soldiers from different nations learned to work together, building friendships that crossed borders. They practiced defending against aerial attacks, ground assaults, and even space invasions. The world was transforming into a single fighting force. As the training continued, a powerful speech was delivered by President Adams. He stood before a massive crowd gathered in a public square. "We are stronger together. We must show the universe that humanity will not be intimidated. We will protect our planet." Cheers erupted from the crowd as people waved flags from their nations, proud to stand united. However, not everyone was on board with the unity. Some citizens were afraid of what lay ahead. They worried about the loss of life and the destruction that could come from a war with aliens. Activists and peace groups held protests, demanding a diplomatic solution. "We must find a way to communicate with them. We cannot just prepare for war," they shouted. But the leaders remained focused on preparing for the worst. They believed that showing strength was the only way to ensure survival. The fear of the unknown pushed humanity to gather its forces, and it wasn't just governments leading the charge. Everyday citizens joined in. People volunteered to help with training, supplying food and resources to troops. Communities came together to support their local military bases. As the preparations continued, news spread about the alien scouts approaching Earth. A sense of urgency gripped the globe. The date of the anticipated encounter drew near. The humans knew they had to act fast. They were no longer just individuals from separate nations. They were one people, ready to fight for their home. At a hidden military base, a massive war room buzzed with activity. Maps were spread out on tables, showing the possible paths of the incoming alien ships. Commanders shouted orders, strategizing their next moves. They knew that the time to prepare was almost over. As the countdown began, the world held its breath. The unity of humanity had never been more powerful, and they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They stood tall, knowing that they were fighting not just for themselves, but for the future of their planet. The moment of truth was coming, and they were determined to show the universe that they would not back down. In the cold darkness of space, the Zorak Empire prepared for their mission to Earth. Commander Thalor paced back and forth on the bridge of his ship, the Zorak Vanguard. His heart raced with anticipation. He could not shake the feeling that the humans would be more than just simple prey. The signal they sent had sparked a fire in him, and he was eager to learn more. "Prepare the scouts for departure," Thalor ordered. The crew moved quickly, readying a small, stealthy ship designed for reconnaissance. This ship, the Silent Shadow, would slip past Earth's defenses unnoticed. Thalor selected a team of elite scouts, each trained to observe and gather information without being detected. As the small ship launched from the Zorak Vanguard, Thalor watched from the control room. The stars stretched out before them, and he felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. He had heard tales of the humans and their unpredictable nature. Would they fight back if discovered? Meanwhile, back on Earth, the humans were still preparing for the unknown. They had gathered intelligence about possible alien movements and monitored the skies for any signs of invasion. Little did they know the aliens were already among them. As the Silent Shadow entered Earth's atmosphere, the scouts activated their cloaking devices, making them invisible to radar and human eyes. They flew low over the cities, observing the people below. The scouts saw soldiers training, civilians going about their daily lives, and factories buzzing with activity. It was clear that the humans were serious about their defense. "Look at their fortifications," whispered a scout named Rix. He pointed at a military base where soldiers practiced maneuvers. "They are working together. They know we are coming." Thalor, observing through the ship's monitors, frowned. "We must gather more information. We need to know their weaknesses." The scouts moved silently over a large city. They marveled at the technology humans had developed. Bright lights illuminated the streets, and cars zipped around like insects. The scouts took detailed notes on everything they saw. They were impressed, but also puzzled by the humans' ingenuity. As they hovered near a military base, the scouts listened to radio communications. They heard soldiers discussing plans, tactics, and training schedules. "They are readying for something," Thalor noted. "They are not just preparing, they are waiting for us." Rix frowned. "What if they spot us? We cannot afford to be detected." Thalor nodded, understanding the risk. "Let's move away from here. We need to find more information without drawing attention." The scouts flew towards a remote area where they could observe a secret meeting of military leaders. They landed their ship in a hidden valley, keeping their cloaking devices active. Peering through the trees, they watched as human commanders gathered around a table, discussing strategies. "This is it," Thalor said softly, his eyes narrowing. "This is where we will learn what we need." As the humans talked, the scouts recorded every word. They heard about plans to develop new weapons, strategies for defense, and alliances forming between nations. It was clear that the humans were not as divided as before. They were becoming a single, strong force. One commander stood up and declared, "We must show the aliens that we will not back down. They think they can invade our planet, but we are ready to fight for our home." The scouts exchanged glances, realizing the gravity of the situation. These humans were not scared. They were willing to defend their planet at any cost. Thalor felt a rush of admiration for their spirit. They were fierce, but he also felt the pressure mounting. If they underestimated humanity, it could lead to disaster. Suddenly, the meeting was interrupted by a soldier who burst in, his face pale with urgency. "We've detected an unidentified object near the base. It could be an alien scout." Thalor's heart raced. "We need to leave now," he shouted to his crew. They quickly activated the ship's engines, preparing for a hasty retreat. As they lifted off, they felt a rush of adrenaline. The humans had discovered them. Thalor realized that time was running out. They had to return to the Zorak Empire and report their findings. The humans were indeed ready for battle, and the Zorak Empire had to prepare for the fight of their lives. As the silent shadow zoomed back into space, Thalor felt a mixture of excitement and dread. The universe was about to witness a clash like no other, and he knew they would need every advantage they could muster. The day had finally come. Humanity had prepared for the worst, and the time for action was at hand. Reports flooded in that the alien scouts had been spotted. Commander Rachel Thompson, a seasoned military leader, stood on the bridge of the United Earth Forces flagship, the Unity, as she gazed at the holographic display of the solar system. Red dots flickered on the screen, indicating the incoming Zorak ships. They were getting closer. "Commander, we have confirmed multiple alien ships approaching Earth," her tactical officer, Lieutenant Mark, reported urgently. "They are coming from the outer edge of the solar system, and their speed is increasing." Rachel took a deep breath. This was the moment they had been preparing for. "Send a message to all forces," she ordered. "Prepare for battle! We will defend our planet." Across the globe, military bases erupted into action. Soldiers scrambled to their positions, aircraft took to the skies, and naval fleets readied themselves in the oceans. People watched anxiously from their homes, glued to their screens, waiting for news. The whole world was holding its breath, united in a common cause. As the alien ships entered Earth's orbit, a loud alarm sounded on the Unity. "The aliens are here!" Mark shouted, his eyes wide with determination. Rachel clenched her fists, feeling adrenaline surge through her veins. "Launch all fighter jets," she commanded, "and prepare the defense systems." Within moments, sleek aircraft shot out from the hangar bays of the Unity, streaking into the sky. Pilots shouted their readiness over the comms, filled with a sense of purpose. Among them was Captain Sarah Cole, who had trained for this moment. "This is it, team! Let's show them what we're made of," she encouraged her squadron. Meanwhile, the Zorak commander Thalor observed the scene from his flagship, the Zorak Vanguard. He gripped the control panel as he saw Earth's defenses spring to life. "They are more prepared than I expected," he said to his crew. "But we will show them the might of the Zorak Empire." "Deploy the attack ships," he ordered. The alien vessels split into formation, ready to unleash their firepower. As the two forces clashed, chaos erupted in the skies above Earth. Jets zipped and weaved through the air, launching missiles at the Zorak ships. Explosions lit up the sky as the first rounds of fire exchanged hands. Rachel watched from the Unity, her heart racing. "All ships, stay in formation," she shouted. "We must protect our home." The sound of gunfire filled the airwaves, and she felt the weight of responsibility resting on her shoulders. The battle intensified as the aliens fought back fiercely. Lasers shot from their ships, striking the Earth's jets with deadly precision. One by one, jets were taken down, sending plumes of smoke spiraling into the atmosphere. "We're losing fighters!" Mark shouted, panic creeping into his voice. But Rachel remained focused. "We can't give up! Engage the enemy and aim for their weak points." On the ground, people watched the skies, their hearts pounding. They saw the flames and heard the distant booms of battle. In that moment, fear turned to pride. They knew their soldiers were fighting for them. Back in the air, Captain Sarah led her squadron through the chaos, skillfully maneuvering around incoming fire. "Stick together, team! We can do this!" she called out. her voice steady despite the chaos around her. With a deep breath, she aimed her jet toward the nearest Zorak ship. "This is for Earth!" she shouted as she pulled the trigger, sending a missile hurtling toward the alien craft. It struck with a blinding flash, and cheers erupted over the comms. However, Thalor watched in frustration as one of his ships exploded. "Increase firepower," he commanded. "We cannot lose this battle." As the fight raged on, both sides faced heavy losses. The Unity struggled to maintain control as enemy ships swarmed around them. But Rachel knew they could not back down. "Launch the ground forces!" she ordered, determined to push back against the invaders. Down below, soldiers waited in armored vehicles ready to charge into battle. As they drove onto the battlefield, they felt the weight of history on their shoulders. This was their moment to defend their home. The ground forces engaged the Zorak troops, fierce combat erupting across the landscape. The air was filled with the sounds of gunfire and explosions as humanity stood united against the invaders. Amidst the chaos, Rachel felt a surge of hope. They were fighting with everything they had, showing the Zorak Empire that they would not be defeated easily. As she watched her soldiers fight bravely, she knew that this battle was just the beginning. The first battle of humanity against the Zorak Empire was fierce and bloody, but one thing was clear: they would not go down without a fight. The world had united, and together they would stand strong against the darkness that threatened their home. The battlefield was silent now, the aftermath of chaos still hanging in the air like a heavy fog. Smoke curled upward from the remnants of alien ships scattered across the landscape. Humanity had won the first battle, but the cost had been high. Commander Rachel Thompson stood on the bridge of the Unity, surveying the damage. She felt both pride and sorrow. "Commander, we have suffered significant losses," Lieutenant Mark reported, his face grim. "Many pilots didn't return, and our ground forces faced heavy fire." Rachel nodded, her heart heavy with the weight of their sacrifice. "We cannot forget them. They fought bravely for our home," she said softly. "But we must also look forward. The Zorak Empire will not stop here.